Noelle. Yeah, she can fix that. You gotta get it done, no, you need to do it better. Well, she can fix that. Yeah, she can fix that. Investment to get back, trying to get a big stack. She can fix that. Let's fix that.
So let's talk about personal credit. So obviously you're watching this video, you know that hard inquiries are probably lowering your credit score. But when it comes to personal credit, some of you guys may know, some of you don't, but I'm gonna break it down for you. There are 3 credit bureaus when it comes to personal credit. You have Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. And all 3 of those credit bureaus are different. They're 3 different companies that will report all of the information that is sent to them from different lenders, and they will compile a score. All of your trade lines, such as your credit cards, your mortgages, your auto loans, even your student loans, will report on your personal credit report and offer you a score based on how well you've paid those people, how well you've managed your accounts, and the different types of accounts that you have. It is a very crazy thing because most people do not know how credit works. And in fact, most people could never tell you how to get a perfect credit score because this is a proprietary model that these companies use and they would never share it. It's this crazy algorithm that none of us absolutely know, but we've learned so much over the years that I can tell you some tips and some tricks, and especially on how to get those inquiries moved and how to keep a very good personal credit score no matter what your situation is. So let's get into that part. So now let's talk about how we are going to get those removed. Here's what I did because the process is a little complicated, but it's absolutely free and it's something that you can get done on your own without paying anybody to do, okay? So now let's first talk about a concept that you need to understand. When it comes to inquiries, you have to understand that the burden of proof is on the person that reported the information. For example, the person that reported that they had an inquiry, the burden of proof for them to prove that it is you and your credit report and they had the authorization to pull your credit is on them, okay? So just think about that for a second. So there's a way that if you feel like you shouldn't have all of these inquiries, you feel like you don't recall them, you feel like these are not mine, these are not justified, whatever the situation is, you can go ahead and you can write a letter to get those removed, okay? But before you do that, because I'm gonna tell you exactly where to get the letter, and where to send it, I'm gonna first tell you, you need to do a couple of things. Because like I said, the burden of proof is on the lender, on the person that, put the inquiry up there and reported that information. You need to know that, okay? And you need to know what happens. Because you know that, here's how we navigate around the game. When you dispute that you want to have these inquiries removed, okay? You are not disputing directly with the lender. You're not going to say, hey, Chase, take that inquiry off. You are going to go to the credit bureaus. You're going to go to Experian, Equifax, or TransUnion, wherever the inquiry is, and you are going to you're going to send a letter to get those removed. But before you send that letter to those 3 credit bureaus to have those inquiries removed, you need to make sure that the information where they're going to go check is frozen. So here's the real secret. Those three credit bureaus, Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, they usually go to a couple of different companies to see if this information is accurate. One of them is called Sage Stream, okay? And you can go there absolutely free. And what you can do is go ahead and freeze your account with them, freeze your credit report with them so that people cannot access that information. It's absolutely free for you. Sage Stream. The next one is LexisNexis. And this is a company that, reports all of the public information. They actually do criminal reports, they do credit reports, they do all different types of background reports to make sure people are who they say they are. But you can actually freeze your account with them. So then when you go ahead and you send this letter, they're not going to be able to access or verify your information with them. And this is how you can easily get these hard inquiries removed. So you want to go ahead and freeze those accounts, and then you're going to go to the Fair Credit Act. They have a website. This is through the government, the United States government, and they have a letter that you can use to dispute anything that you feel that is inaccurate or an error on your credit report. And it is a letter because it's a section of the law called Section 604. And that is what you will use to send to those credit bureaus in order to get those inquiries disputed or removed if they cannot verify them. It's just that simple. You want to make sure, though, you send that Form 604 via USPS mail, United States Postal Service, and you also want to make sure that you send it certified mail. All right. You also want to make sure you do not sign the letter. This is not for you to sign and send it. You want to put your name, you put your information, and you put the accounts that you are disputing, and that is it. Do not sign that letter because you do not even want them to have your signature on file. All right, guys, so you submit that letter, and if they are not able to verify that those are truly inquiries that you initiated, they will have to be removed from your credit report. Just that simple. I have spilled the tea, guys. The next thing that I did to increase my credit score that you can do is you need to get some of that bad credit off of your credit report. You got to start cleaning up your credit report. So one of the things that I learned is that you could get errors or omissions or things like that on your credit report off of it. Because what I learned was the burden of proof was on the person that reported it. So in other words, if I had a charge off with AT&T for a cell phone that I didn't pay, the burden of proof was be on AT&T to prove that it was me and to prove that I still owed the debt. And if they did not verify it, it would have to be removed off of my credit report. Well, you can do the same thing. Once you have the copy of your credit report, as I've already told you to do, when you have all of the accounts, it's very simple to just go through them and find any inaccuracies, any errors, anything that you could dispute to get that off of your credit report. You need to find any inaccuracies, any errors, or any misrepresentations. Or if it's something that you see on your credit report that you just don't recognize or you don't recall, you can also get that removed. So you can start getting bad credit deleted off of your credit report by starting to file some of those disputes and by locking up your credit. The next thing you can also get off of your credit is inquiries. Many times when we apply for things, people will pull our credit and they will pull it many times with different lenders. You may go to apply for a car, for example, and they may shop your loan through all of these different companies, and each of those companies is giving you hard inquiries. You literally can take it into your own hands and start to get those hard inquiries removed from your credit report. I literally made a video about this, and I'm going to put a link in there on how to remove those hard inquiries, because it is amazing and it is something that you need to do, and this is how you will get even more points. What happens with those hard inquiries is it's probably costing you about 5 points for each one where you got declined from. And if you can get those inquiries removed, again, they'll remove from themselves after 25 months, okay, because it has to stay up there for 2 years. After 25 months, they'll automatically fall off your credit report. But if you want to get those removed sooner, you can go ahead by doing that and following the process that I outlined for you. And again, I made a whole video for you. So you want to start cleaning up that credit, removing any bad credit and errors, omissions, misrepresentations, things you don't represent, things that you don't recall. And then last but not least, disputing and removing all of those hard inquiries and getting that credit report cleaned up. So if you're watching this video, I'm assuming you probably have some bad credit issues, kind of like how I had, where you have some collections or you have some charge-offs. So let me quickly tell you the difference though between a collection and a charge-off. So say for example, you have a credit card. Let's just use Capital One for example, because this was my situation. So I'm just going to use me. I'm not going to use anybody else. I had a Capital One credit card, in like 2002 or whatever. They gave it to me when I was like, 21 years old or whatever. And I used it. And then when I didn't pay it, they would call me all the time. And then, I didn't have the money, so I didn't answer the phone. And then eventually they sent it to collections. Okay. And that is after what we call charged it off. So the company itself, okay, the Capital One company, they will keep calling me and trying to get that money. Eventually, if I don't pay them after, 4 months or 5 months or 6 months, every lender has their own, guidelines on how long they'll try to contact you and get money before they charge it off. Meaning before they're like, okay, this is not collectible. Noelle is a deadbeat. She's not going to pay us. Let's just go ahead and let's just charge it off. And so what they do is they say, you know what? She's not giving us that $300. We're writing it off. It's a loss. Okay. And then they send it to collections. Okay. So there's collection companies and collection agencies. Probably you guys know what I'm talking about. And they will call you on old credit card bills and old cell phone bills and all this other stuff and try to get money from you. And the thing about it is you really need to understand this game because it is so important. They literally bought that debt for pennies on the dollar, okay? Collection agencies buy charged off debt. And then any of the money that they collect, they get to keep, okay? So once it's charged off, they bought the debt. And if they bought it for $15, like on a credit card, like say you charged off $300, they probably bought that debt for like $10, just being honest with you. So even if they got $20 from you, they got more than they would have gotten. But let me tell you the secret to the game because I need you to understand those two things. And now I'm going to give you the secret sauce on how you maneuver through all of it. So before I get into that secret sauce, this is an awesome time. If you are loving this content, please make sure you smash that like button and please share this video with anyone that you think this content could be useful for. I want to make sure I'm helping as many people as possible, so get to sharing. So now that you know the difference between collections and charge-offs and then kind of what happens, you know, they charge the debt off and then they send it to a collections agency, and then that agency is essentially a new debtor, okay? Because they have purchased that debt. So here's the secret on how you maneuver this, okay, guys? And this is from real world experience, not only from my own bad personal credit, but from me being a vice president at some of the largest banks, okay? And working in mortgage and finance. I know this stuff. I'm not just telling you. Additionally, I have a master's degree in economics from Penn State, and I have an MBA from Baylor, all right? So I am not just telling y'all stuff. Noelle knows this stuff in and out. The lender that has charged you off or has, you know, put you in collections, they have the burden of proof, guys, okay? So now that they have reported this to your credit report, all right, and this is on your credit report, you can dispute those things and they have to prove that it's you. And the key to this is you don't have to actually ever say that it's you. So when they call you on the phone, the collection agency is calling like, hey, I have this Capital One bill and you didn't pay them this, that, and the other. Can I speak to Noelle? I'm sorry, you have the wrong number. Click, and I hang up. I don't even talk to them, okay? I do not ever admit that it's me. I don't have to admit that that's my credit card. I don't have to admit anything. The burden of proof is on them. So the key that you want to make sure that you are doing, and you do not fall into this trap, do not confirm it's you, do not confirm the debt, do not start making payments, or if they say, you know, because they're calling you, they want to harass you because they want you to pay them. Remember, they bought that debt. So this collection agency, that's their entire job, is to collect money from you. So they'll call you every single day. They don't care. And that's their business. And it's up to you to know this rule. So I'm telling you something that most people in the world do not know. Don't answer their calls. Do not admit to the debt. Do not do any of those things, okay? Because what you are doing, unfortunately, if you do admit and you get on that recorded line, because they always call you from a recorded line, right? Am I right? I know. Click that little. Let me get some comments below. How many have gotten that call? You're on a recorded line. Yeah, okay, bye. I'm hanging up. Do not talk to them on that recorded line because now they have you. So if you're trying to fix your credit and you have these situations, the last thing that you want to do is say, yeah, I did it. It's me and I didn't pay. Because at that point, now we don't have the wiggle room. And of course, Noelle is not a lawyer. I told you all those degrees I have. I never told you I was a lawyer. So, you know, you can talk to your attorney, but I know the laws. And the law is they have the burden of proof. And I also know the law is you would have to admit and confirm that that debt is yours. And I am telling you unequivocally, you don't have to do that. Okay, because I am cooking now. I am loving this content, and I'm like, because this is amazing. I wish people had told me this. That's what I'm telling you guys, okay? So I'm telling you, all right? So instead of actually paying those collections and debts, here's my promise. Here's what I'm telling you should do instead. You can get those things removed. You can actually take the time and you can put in letters and you can get those things removed from your credit report. All right. And I'm actually going to put a link below to kind of help you with some of that. And then I'm actually even have a whole video that I've made. And I'll make sure I'll put a link to that on how to get these things removed with some letters, with some templates so that you can use. So I'm giving you everything that you need. Okay. But if you don't have the time to do this and you, instead of paying that company for that old debt, you would be better off to pay a credit restoration company instead of paying that. Okay, I literally have paid for credit restoration, and I'm not talking about credit repair. That's something different. And again, I have a great credit restoration company called 𝗏𝗡𝗏 Credit Solutions. Again, I'm not being paid any money for this. This is just a company I've used. He's a good friend of mine that owns the company, Justin, and he's amazing. And he's helped lots of people, lots of my clients, and he has helped me. Okay, so you want to make sure if you have issues or if you're wanting to pay a little bit of money to settle these debts, instead of selling and giving them that money, you could give it to a company and they can get all of this cleaned up and get you a really good credit score fast.